Hey horror fans, welcome back to Room 237, coming at you with another David Cronenberg review. And I'm doing one of his earliest films, or one of his earlier films, excuse me. And definitely what Yahoo Movies calls his darkest and most twisted films, and that is The Brood, 1979. Yeah, before this he did Shivers. Before that was a short film. I can't remember the name of it. So this was like his second, like, film. And yeah, this definitely is his most disturbing. I didn't really get it the first time I saw it years and years ago. But I've seen it a few times since, and it's just as strong as his other ones. I think I might even put this above a Videodrome, if I dare say that. But this is sort of the one that kind of goes under the radar a lot. You don't really hear people talking about The Brood very often. You know, it's usually like The Fly, Videodrome, Scanners. But this had some decent reviews. It was well received. It is considered a classic. I really enjoy it. The story, again, like with Scanners, it's a pretty straightforward story, but a lot of the intricate parts of it can get a little confusing and hard to explain. Basically, there is this doctor named Dr. Hal Raglan, played by, the hell's his name? Oliver Reed. And he's a psychologist that specializes in this new form of treatment called psychoplasms, where his patients purge their suppressed emotions through some parts of their body somehow. And the film opens up with him performing this with a male patient who has father issues. But his prime patient is Nola, played by Samantha Eggar, in one of the creepiest and most convincing psycho bitch female performances ever. She is the ex-wife of... I'm already forgetting the characters' names. Huh. She is the ex-wife of Frank Calvert, played by Art Hindle. And they are in a custody battle for their 5-year-old daughter, Candy. And basically, yeah, it's a creepy killer kid movie done by Cronenberg. This was written by Cronenberg also. This was the first time Howard Shore composed a film for him. It was actually Howard Shore's first time scoring a film. And pretty much, Nola, played by Samantha Eggar, she is severely disturbed. Well, one day Candy comes home and she has bruises on her back. And Frank suspects Nola, especially given her background. And Frank wants to use that to help gain full custody. Because Dr. Raglan works at this secluded, like, out in the snowy woods sort of resort-ish place called a Soma Free. And we see it's sort of like what's the word I'm looking for? God damn it. hypnosis, where he represents, like, for example, the first time we see Nola go under this treatment is towards her mother, her very abusive mother. So Raglan is sort of portraying mother. But, so Candy is now being supervised by her grandmother, Nola's mother, the abusive one. But she's a good grandmother. All of a sudden, this creepy ass kid, who we don't really get to see their face right away, comes in and kills her with a tenderizing hammer. And then later on, another treatment is her going through treatment, her problems with her dad. Why? How come you never did anything? How come you never stopped? How come you never loved me? So, her parents are divorced, so the grandmother's ex-husband comes in, and then he gets killed. This time there's 2 kids. And basically, you find out, spoiler alert, you find out at the end that her level of disturbance and rage and everything was so strong that usually psychoplasms will leave like a lump or a spot or something on your body somewhere. She is able to give birth to a brood, one at a time, of these demented children on the outside of her body. She forms a womb on the outside of her body. Because one of those kids is killed and then taken in for autopsy, and you find out that they're all deformed. They don't have a navel, so they're never technically born. And it's around this time that Frank is getting close with Candy's teacher. And there's a really creepy scene, because by this point, the grandmother, the grandfather have been killed. We know that Nola is fucked and scary. Samantha Eggar, her performance in this, sorry, again, it's all crazy eyes, death glares, and just what she does with her voice. Like, she can talk so calmly, then all of a sudden just be like, oh, what? Like, Nola calls the house, and the teacher answers. And you can hear over the phone, just her voice, that performance is very strong. You hear her go from, she's like, Candy's teacher? Yes. Are you and my husband having private, like, PTA meet or something like that? Then she just starts screaming into the phone. We don't see her. We just hear her over the phone. So then the next children attack is after the teacher. Teacher gets killed. And there's other things that go on, like that. The artist that was in Scanners, I think his name is Robert Silverman. I'll have to check again. Robert A. Silverman. Frequent Cronenberg collaborator. He's in this as well as a minor role. He plays a former patient who's now dying of lymphoma. Supposedly from the psychoplasmic treatment. So he's kind of on his way to kind of shut down the whole thing. But it's a pretty slow build up. Yeah, you get a couple scenes with the kids. The little girl that plays Candy, she doesn't do a bad job. She just looks terrified the whole time. And, you're supposed to believe that Raglan is like this demented, mad scientist who, is using Nola and her fucked in the headness for whatever means. So yeah, you get a couple kill scenes with the kids, but the real Cronenberg scene that, like, this is the head explosion from Scanners. What everyone remembers is the brood, because there's now a bunch of these fucked up kids, have captured Candy and brought her to Sober Free. So now Frank has to go there to get her. And by this time, Raglan has sent all his patients away except for Nola. We get Raglan's actually a kind of a good guy. He's trying to help Frank get Candy out. And there's this creepy scene because when Nola is calm, there's like a room full of bunk beds with all these kids. If Frank can keep Nola calm, they're like statues. It is really eerie and kind of disturbing. So Frank is trying to talk to Nola, and she's wearing this thing. He's like, I want to be with you. I'm ready to, And she's like, well, then look. And she's wearing like this thing that like covers her arms. It looks like wings. And it pans down and we see the womb. Great effects. And it's not just enough that she has a womb on the outside of her from all this psychoplasmic stuff and her rage and how mentally unstable she is to form this thing. She bites into it to break the sac. We see her pull it open, take the fetus out, and then clean it like a cat with her tongue. Which I think was it was either improvised or thought up by Samantha Eggar herself. So that's pretty neat. She was willing to go all the way. And again, the things she does with her eyes, the looks that she can give, she is up there with Kathy Bates as Annie Wilkes in Misery. Only she looks scarier. And, she's cleaning that's the scene everybody knows. That's the Scanner's head explosion. And, you had this beautiful Howard Shore string composition that goes great with it. And, you had the suspense of her figuring out Frank's plan to just get the girl out. So as she's realizing and her eyes are getting wide and raising her voice, that we see Raglan trying to get Candy out of that bedroom as the kids are starting to twitch and become more to life. But then finally, Frank kills her, and when she dies, the brood dies. He drives away with Candy, but the camera pans down, and she has lumps on her arms. So now she's traumatized, and now she is part of the psychoplasmic whatever. This is a really good movie. Hard to explain. Yeah, of course, David Cronenberg is the king, the master of body horror. I would still proclaim that The Fly is the best example, but this is out there. I mean, the fact that there's this woman who is so mentally disturbed and so full of rage and hatred that mixed with this form of therapy can form a womb outside her body and have these little children be the manifestations of that hatred and rage and go after whoever the subject of the session was. So yeah, I really do enjoy this movie. It is dark. It is a slow build up. You know, it is kind of slow, but you know, you get a couple kill scenes in there with creepy looking kids. You don't get to see their faces very much, but I think that adds to the effect. But still, for what is technically his second movie that he also wrote, I mean, guy's got a great imagination, and this would be in my top. If it's not in my top 3, it's definitely in my top 5. It would definitely go The Fly, Scanners, and then either this or Videodrome. This is definitely darker than Videodrome. From what I've seen, it's his darkest and his most twisted. I haven't seen Shivers yet or Rabid. I actually have Rabid on the way. Same with Dead Ringers. So I'll be reviewing those when they come in. But yeah, if you're into body horror or just fucked up things, or if you just want to see a great performance, yeah, and the performances are good all around. I mean, Oliver Reed is a good, like, you know, he's doing something, but he looks and acts like there's something else going on. Art Hindle does a good job as Frank. There were a couple cool shots that I liked, like when the grandmother gets killed. The one creepy kid is in the kitchen, just like going through shit, and they're always going like and making weird noises. I like how the camera kind of pans up. You just see like chips and stuff in the kitchen just falling down as he's going through the cupboards. But yeah, that end confrontation between Frank and Nola, it's almost on par with Vale and Daryl in Scanners. But even the effects on the fetus and the embryonic sac, effects look good, and just the fact that she even came up with cleaning it like a cat. Dark, twisted, eerie. It has a bit of atmosphere to it as well. But yeah, Cronenberg's The Brood. Definitely a good movie. Definitely check it out. This is one of his must-see films. I really enjoy it. But that's probably all I'll do for videos tonight. Rabid and Dead Ringers should be in within a few days. So I have some other stuff coming in as well. But I have the next 2 days off, so you'll be seeing a lot of other videos coming. So stay tuned for those, and thank you for watching.